Hey there! Welcome to the Advertisers Guide to the Galaxy with me, Karthik Srinivasan. I'm back with more insights on marketing and advertising from India. In today's episode, I will be talking about a marriage matchmaker's career pivot. Sima Taparia is a real full-time professional matchmaker since 2005. But her fame skyrocketed after the Netflix series titled Indian Matchmaking in 2020. Seema is on Instagram with over 117,000 followers, and this is no surprise given how popular she has become after the show. Though her presence on Twitter and Facebook is sketchy and limited, what is truly interesting is her joining LinkedIn, a professional networking platform, in August 2022. Yes, Seema joined LinkedIn with a cryptic message that went, "Thinking too much is subject to market risks." And then followed it up with another equally cryptic message, "Advice for all millennials today: break FDs, not hearts." Finally, she announced that she is starting a new position as a mutual fund matchmaker. Her message in this post was, "Excited to announce that after 20 years of being in the Indian matchmaking scene, I have decided to add another feather to my cap. I will now be exploring mutual fund matchmaking. It means scattering my skill sets in a completely new industry, which is something I'm really excited for. Marriages and mutual funds are both an investment in your future, and I can't wait to embark on this journey with you." By now, it is obvious that this is a marketing campaign and not Seema's actual LinkedIn presence. Yes, the campaign is by Five, a neo-banking app. The context for roping in Seema for the campaign was to showcase that picking mutual funds is as complex as finding a life partner. And the product pitch is that the Fi app makes picking mutual funds easy thanks to their curated mutual funds basket. The idea, conceived and executed in-house by Fi, has an excellent creative idea to sell curated mutual funds basket premise. And getting Seema to front the campaign makes contextual sense too, given her name's strong association with matchmaking. However, what stands out as an awkward force fit is Seema supposedly joining LinkedIn. Fi did not simply use LinkedIn advertising to put Seema in front of us. They created a LinkedIn profile for her. Consider the ways in which Fi could have used LinkedIn advertising via sponsored content. We would see the video in our timeline featuring Seema pitching herself as a mutual funds matchmaker, and the impact would be the same. A personal profile of a real person on LinkedIn creates a different kind of need. Like most social media platforms, people can interact with the real person behind the profile. They can comment on the post, send direct messages, tag them, and so on. Obviously, when Seema announced that she is now a mutual funds matchmaker on LinkedIn, people would discount that as a fun marketing gimmick. This they could do even with a sponsored post. But when it is a personal profile of a real person on an interactive social media platform, the possibilities go beyond using the platform as a mere broadcast channel. If mere broadcast was the objective, a sponsored post would have done the trick, as I'd mentioned earlier. But we have people commenting on Seema's posts now. Why not make use of that interactivity? For example, why not initiate an AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, where people ask Seema questions on mutual funds and she answers them with a nudge towards Fi wherever appropriate. Of course, this needs to be managed by the Fi team on behalf of Seema, and it anyway looks like that's what's happening with the actual replies from Seema too that you can see on LinkedIn. Considering the way Fi utilizes a full-fledged profile on LinkedIn merely as a broadcast channel, this is obviously not a crime, of course, just a failure of imagination. Why not explore the full potential by keeping the tone light and activating engagements? One argument against it could be based on how brands use brand ambassadors. Imagine Shah Rukh Khan engaging with people on Twitter, for example, on behalf of Byju's, a brand that he is a face of. People would ask questions about the online education space, and Shah Rukh Khan, the superstar, would respond to people. That sounds preposterous, of course. But what's unique about the way Fi created Seema's profile is that A, it was a profile on LinkedIn, a professional networking platform, and B, Seema announced her new position, a job as a mutual funds matchmaker, who helps India's confused millennials find their perfect mutual fund. Shah Rukh Khan does not mention on his Twitter profile that he is now a career or education counselor. He simply gets paid to promote Byju's. I do understand that the framing of Seema's profile on LinkedIn is to color the campaign with a bit more authenticity. But then why not use that fig leaf of authenticity created to extend the possibilities offered by an interactive platform like LinkedIn? Why create a profile and waste the potential by merely using it to broadcast and offer largely inane replies that hardly fit the mutual funds matchmaker tag? One potential reason could be that this was planned as a time-bound contract. For instance, Fi may have signed up Seema for, say, August and September 2022, shot one video, and the LinkedIn profile was simply a media vehicle to accentuate that video. That would explain why the profile has been completely dormant after promoting a couple of media mentions of the campaign after the initial burst. But then why? Why limit the potential by imagining LinkedIn as yet another media channel? Why not extend the contract after the first 2 months to a bare bones version where Seema doesn't have to post anything, but the Fi team could keep it active by sharing financial education, mutual funds gyan, interactive Q&A, and more on Seema's behalf? It won't be very different from the many folks on LinkedIn who outsource content writing for a fee. In other words, if you've signed up Seema merely as an attention-seeking gimmick, which works wonderfully by the way, I must add, why create a profile on LinkedIn screaming a career pivot? However clever and close it sounds to our current profession. And if you've actually gone ahead and given Seema an additional career, why not let the Seema, the mutual funds matchmaker facade, live longer in service of the campaign on LinkedIn? If Fi needs to keep running the video on TV or digital platforms, they need to keep paying the platform. But to keep the profile active and relevant to the campaign on LinkedIn, they would need to pay far less to an external agency or an in-house team who just need to bring in interesting and relevant content and marry it with Seema's tone. This is where I felt Fi merely scratched the surface with an excellent idea and wasted the larger opportunity. Of course, if they had merely advertised on LinkedIn as against starting a profile, I wouldn't have said the same thing at all. But they did create a personal profile for her. Remember that. That's all for today. And we'll be back next week with another piece of marketing communication and another round of insights. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Beast of Troll across Instagram and Twitter and Karthik Srinivasan on LinkedIn. I also happen to have a blog by the same name. You can listen to the show on the IVM Podcast app, website, or across any audio platform. The show is also available on YouTube, by the way. Just search for The Advertisers Guide to the Galaxy on YouTube. You can reach out to IVM at IVM Podcast across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thank you so much for listening.